Hello, welcome to Airing Out. I'm Josh.
And I'm Jonas.
This is Jerry, and today we're going to be doing our Guy Ritchie retrospective.
Finally, I know you've been waiting for this for so long.
We've definitely been So we watched these films, a week ago now. We watched pretty much his entire filmography.
all the important stuff.
Important stuff. We do have a list of his films up here.
Yes,
for
exactly.
us to keep track of what we say and what we forget.
Exactly. Guy Ritchie, if you don't recognize the name, amazing director.
Yeah. I think his biggest or most known film is definitely
Snatch.
But he actually did Aladdin.
The new Aladdin.
And yeah, a bunch of others, which we'll be talking through because we watched his films in order of release date.
Yes.
We went through Snatch, Rock'n'Roller, Sherlock Holmes, both of them, Man from U.n.c.l.E., King Arthur, Aladdin, and The Gentleman. We missed Revolver Swept Away, and
8
Lock,
films.
Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Lock, Stock, but all intents and purposes, is just Snatch, but on a lower budget, which is fine. And then the other two people don't really talk about. And for directors that we enjoy, we tend to just watch the ones that people enjoy.
Also for saving time purposes, otherwise we would be watching so much TV.
A lot of films that are actually quite hard to find as well.
Yeah, that's true.
They're not really
nice for our budget as well. No, but some very, very good films there. I don't know. You might have recognized some more other than just Snatch.
Yeah,
especially contemporary films.
Especially, but we'll get there.
Yes, we'll get there. We'll get there.
But no, this has been a while. We had a lot of technical troubles, but now everything is working, set up, perfect.
We know what we're doing again. Feels like it.
Hopefully, we're setting into a good schedule, but we can talk about our schedule on an actual podcast.
Yes. Airing Out films.
But for now, let's start with Snatch.
Let's jump right in. Yeah.
So this is the first time you've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
What did you think?
Well, it is quite funny when you see someone's later films and then after that watch an earlier film because you're like, okay, I can already see these like trademarks, I guess, that already come into play in this earlier film and stuff. And I think that's always really cool to be like, this is where it started. Well, like he's doing it there already, like just I think what struck me with Snatch is the incredible like complex plot structure of so many individual groups.
Yeah,
not just individual people, but groups of people that work together to create this plot. And then within those groups, you have individuals who also do their own thing. And it's mad how complex the story is, but he somehow manages to get everything together in just one. I don't know how long it is, like 1.5 hours.
It's not that long.
Yeah.
No, very cohesive, really well managed plot, I think.
Yeah.
And I think he does it by only showing what is completely necessary. So anything, like every little line that would usually be throwaway or kind of just character building is actually, it can be doing that as well, but always building towards something.
Yeah. No, I think you'll find this throughout most of these films is that there are some situations that happen off screen, but they are being mentioned in the later scene. So like they happened, and he might just give you 2 seconds of cutting to
really quick
to that, so like it's not just being mentioned as an exposition, but they're also showing it, so it's okay that it's being talked about and stuff. It's very smart, and it helps you like to still follow along, like, this happened. Yeah,
you're not going back and spending 5 minutes on this bit happened where you're kind of told about it while being shown it, and we're not just hearing about something where you go, why am I just hearing about this? You're kind of doing both simultaneously, but keeping it quick, while still showing a little bit.
It keeps the pace so well.
I mean, I think that's the thing that goes across all his films. They're paced perfectly.
I
don't think there's any moment watching any of these that I was like, I'm a bit bored, or the opposite of the spectrum, which I think is the danger for films that are this quick, is you kind of go, oh, that ended, right. What happened?
Or that complex to be like, I don't know what's going on anymore because I don't know where I am. Why
characters? Yeah. I think actually all of his films set up the characters at the very start.
Yep.
I think
to some degree. I mean, that's also what's nice. You know who everyone is, but not to the extent of they don't have any more growth in the film.
But I think for like stuff like Snatch, like you know the name like Boris the Blade. And it means that half an hour later when he actually comes in, you kind of go, or someone mentions him in passing, you're like, okay, I know he's Russian, I know he deals weapons, and I know his face. You know, I don't know much else about him, but if he's mentioned in passing, it's not this complete
who? Like the what's it, the bullet
dodge.
Bullet dodge. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So, I don't know, a bit about the plot maybe. It is about basically stealing a diamond, or like a lot of these people wanting the same diamond or coming across it in some way. That's crazy because I now already start to think like, oh, all these things that come into play that complicate that, but then
it's very hard to give a full plot. Like I always, I actually, so I think my first Guy Ritchie film was actually Rock and Roller. I came to Snap relatively late, maybe 4 years ago was the first time I watched it. Because the synopsis doesn't really sell it. I think if you go, this cast of characters try to get their hand on this diamond, and it doesn't really. It's not like it's being like passed about or anything. It's very much there is a diamond, but all this other stuff's happening, and a lot of characters don't even really know about it.
That's
you know, like they just get it by happen chance. They're like, oh, right, okay. So it's not like there's a MacGuffin. It's just.
It's also not a heist movie in any way. Like,
no, at all. I mean, the heist is done before the credits finish.
Yeah.
Like it's well out of the way. But I think because of that, what you're actually getting is a British crime film, and a really good one at that. You know, it's whole host of characters.
It's also absolutely a staple though. Like you always get some kind of like British gangster, British lowlife, and that's so cool.
Yeah,
it's really fun. It's good.
I mean, there's no other director that I think kind of touches that topic well, without it being kind of low budget or low brow.
Or or then you get into drama, so you lose the entire humor side of things if you like say Peaky Blinders, but that's also contemporary in that sense. But yeah, I don't know. It's crazy, and we get an amazing performance by Brad Pitt as a Pikey. Oh, it's
on a caravan.
A blue one.
I love it. I think, but even like Jason Statham, I always have to kind of remind myself that he's in it.
Yeah.
Because it's just so unlike any other role he's in. And
he's not that different though from like other roles, but it just fits so well.
It's like so none of these films really are action films.
Yeah.
If that's what you're going into them for, you're going to be disappointed. But his role is what you'd usually expect him to then all of a sudden put on like bicycle clips, like Transporter style, and throwing people about. But it just never happens.
No, but it's like he has the same like stoic demeanor. He's still cold, and
I mean, he is funny.
But he's funny.
He's really funny.
Yeah. No, I think Guy Ritchie's also very good at just capitalizing on the people. You can see that the actors are just perfect for the characters that they're playing. And just like, I don't know, hearing some interviews that actors gave, they're like, yeah, he just literally sits down with them and chats with them like for an hour or something about anything, like not the film at all, anything, just to get to know them. And I think that's very smart, because then you actually get to work with people that you also enjoy working with, and that just sells the whole performance. So
I think it's all because Guy Ritchie's the writer as well.
Yeah.
Even if he's not the only writer on all these films, he's always got a hand in the script. So I think if you know an actor, you can decide what kind of comedy works. It's like, do I write a joke in here, or actually will that just not sell?
Yeah.
And I think you have to know your actors to do that, and how they deliver just their speech.
I guess that's why you also find a number of actors in several of these films.
Yeah, he's definitely, I don't think he's got like, it's not like Tarantino where he's just got Samuel Jackson everything. So there is a kind of turnover slowly.
Sure, yeah.
But he's definitely like, he finds an actor he likes and sticks him for a couple films, which I think is nice.
Yeah.
It just kind of lets them flex their muscles a bit, get comfortable in their roles. But I think Snatch it's not dated at all. It holds up perfectly. It's really funny.
I know, in terms of like film I don't think there's anything that dates it. Maybe like the situation with the camper van and stuff, like the gypsies. I guess that dates it a little bit in terms of time and setting, but like I don't
England.
care. I don't know. I don't know.
Pretty accurate.
Do you still have people just camping out in the countryside?
Yeah, maybe not quite as many, but
maybe
they're
not.
definitely there.
Not a problem.
No. But I think in terms of just like, there's no jokes there that are quite like, oh, that didn't age well, which I think is the risk for film. What was this, 2000?
Yeah, 2000.
Which is the risk, because I mean, there are other films, I'd say, I want to say Martin McDonagh?
Who now?
He did...
I guess... I was just thinking, maybe that says a lot about Great Britain, hasn't like... moving so slowly that the film just doesn't age, because
no, but I mean more in terms of jokes. So Shane Black is who I was thinking of, where so he did is it The Other Guys?
Mm-hmm.
The one with Russell Crowe,
yeah,
and Ryan Reynolds, and the porn star Tate.
Oh no, that's not The Other Guys. Good Guys? No, something guys though. It is Something Guys. The Other Guys is with
I know,
Mark Wahlberg and
Shane Black. The Nice Guys.
Nice Guys.
This is
Good Guys. So close.
But he did The Nice Guys and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
Uh-huh.
And I think the difference between those films, 10 years between those two,
uh-huh.
and it's also, the reason I'm bringing this up, is his films are also very quick, snappy dialogue, very funny, and they pull out that performance. But a lot of the jokes didn't age so well in terms of like what's PC, and I think like even, so I'm usually fairly okay with humor, like across the board. I'm happy to joke about anything, but there's a few topics there jokes about where you're a bit like, oh, all right, come on. Which I don't know.
I think it's, well, with Guy Ritchie, it's definitely, you get a lot of just like people insulting each other.
Yeah, so that is actually his.
That's actually what's very funny. So it's not like they're making a joke.
Yeah.
It's not like someone is.
It's a person making a joke or a character rather than the film. Or the script.
Yeah.
But a lot of his films get criticized for being racist, which I'm not surprised about. But I think people need to realize that you can have a racist character without a director being racist.
Yes, I mean, it is always a matter of like, how do you portray that character, and how do you go about showing or like implying that that's a bad thing.
I think we'll look back to this, because the one I want to talk about with that is The Gentleman, because that's the most recent film.
For sure. Yeah.
But definitely something we'll continue to talk about. But in terms of dating and comedy, it holds up really, really well.
Yeah.
Which I think is important.
Oh yeah, for sure. No, and I mean also in terms of, do you want to get into racism?
No, we'll do it in The Gentleman.
Okay.
Well, we'll get there.
Because then we can go back to all the other films.
But definitely a film that's, I would say, less funny is Rock and Roller, which is the next film that we watched.
It is. Yeah, I guess it tries to push humor less.
Yeah. I don't think it's less funny by accident.
It is funny though.
Which
is crazy, because like it is less funny, but it's still quite funny. I think it is interesting to have Snatch as a very like low life crime, and then Rock and Roller to be like very high life crime, a high society crime. So in this case, it's not about a dime that gets stolen by some crooks, but it's a painting that goes.
Well, I'd say it's about buildings in London.
Yeah, it's again a bit complex.
The painting's a side thing. So a painting does go missing, but it goes missing as a consequence of both. So there's two plots going on at once. There's a Russian trying to buy a building permission in London, and our kind of mid-level crooks in Britain also trying to get building planning permission from this same central crook. Yeah,
that's how it starts off.
And it's the interplay between the kind of tippy-top Russian billionaire, the high-level English millionaire, and the kind of mid-level crime guys. And they're dynamic. And obviously stuff starts to go awry and go wrong, and then it's how each character reacts to that makes it so interesting.
That's again so many players though, and that's.
I think it's the most out of all of his films. I think Rock and Roll is the most characters it chucks around.
Yeah.
Because not only are the groups big, like so there's a group of like 4 or 5 characters often, but there's lots of groups.
Yeah, yeah, because you do get the Russian. You have the accountant who's someone else. You have the
Wild Bunch.
The Wild Bunch. You have the
Archie and Co.
Archie and
English
Co.
guys, and then you've got Johnny and all of his lot, and
Yeah.
the music producers,
and the junkies,
which is Johnny's lot.
I wouldn't say that.
Oh, the cellar junkies.
Yeah, the cellar junkies.
That's for you got Tank, who's his own thing.
Oh yeah.
a lot of characters, but that's not like the Wild Bunch is like 5 characters,
and it's not.
And their accountant's husband.
We're not listing off Ocean's 11 that are 11 people as a group. You know, you can define them as like a group character.
Yeah, so these are all gets away with it because you just follow George Clooney the whole time.
Basically, no, but they don't each play actually a different part. They all play towards the same part. Whereas all these characters have different motivations and different goals, and it's incredible because the
Chancellor.
It takes it takes so much work to develop all these characters and to make their goals counter someone else's goals, and then to somehow have their paths cross at the right time so these play into each other, or like I don't know, it's insane. I don't want to even think about how much time it takes to.
I think it's a lot of pre-production time.
Yeah, I guess
by the sounds of it, he's always writing scripts, and formulating plots. Like I mean, the stuff with him and the casting for King Arthur, which must have been 2016, and he was chatting to Charlie Hunnam, about the British weed business.
Yeah,
and you're like, I mean, that film came out 4 years later, so he's already going for ideas. So I reckon he's just always kind of pinning things. So I think once you get the overall plot structure, like you don't need a script at all for that. You could probably do it with like mathematical equations, like X interacts with Y here, you know, and have it all mapped out. I'm not sure if he does have like a crazy psycho board.
Maybe
with string.
I bet he has that. Like there must be some crazy board where he's like, I want these characters and I want them to do these things, and this is where these two have to cross, this is where these two have to cross.
Because actually that's one thing. Talking about Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Like, so if you pin that out with a string, there's the whole, where did they get the Playboy magazines that they put in the van, like to dupe out with money, and like the directors come out and said, whoops, my bad, you know, like there's a flaw. And for a film that's so tight about a perfect heist, that's not perfect. So there's nothing like that I can think of in any of Guy Ritchie's films where you're like, but how did he get there? Or how did he get that MacGuffin or something, you know? It is all so tight, and every single film is like that, and I think that's really what makes them clever. Because I think, first and foremost, all of his films have very clever characters.
Yes.
No one's ever doing something you're like, well, I wouldn't do that. You know, all of them
making decisions that entirely stupid,
Yeah, and the characters that are stupid are ridiculed for it. So Rock and Roller, where the British crime boss has his dumb lackeys that get slapped constantly for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
and I think that's also what I mean with like each character has proper motivation. So when they do something, it is because they are motivated to do that, and they have reason, and that's why you can follow that, because you're like, yes, I understand why this person would do that. I personally might not in that situation, but it is you can follow it, and yeah, I don't know, that's crazy.
Yeah, and there's no one passive. There's no one that's just getting played in the background.
Yeah, everyone gets a tiny part. Like even like just the bodyguard, whatever they do, also have
yeah. No, it's done really well, and I think that it goes actually. This is where I'd say, because especially Snatch and Rock and Roller are probably the films that people might not have seen. So we're not chucking any spoilers out. Wholeheartedly recommend them.
Yes.
All the films that we watched are available to stream almost.
Not the Gentleman. Well, you can rent it on Amazon Prime.
Yeah, for a couple quid. Strong recommend for all these films to check out. But his next film is one that probably everyone has seen.
Sherlock Holmes, you mean?
Sherlock Holmes,
Yeah.
2009.
Yeah.
So this is Robert Downey Jr. right
This
after
is
his Iron Man explosion.
Explosioganza.
I love this film. I have seen it
It's a
many,
good
many
film.
times. I think it's also like it's a good scale. So I think obviously I think the thing that this can be compared to very easily is the Sherlock TV show.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, that had issues in that the first episode is just a kind of small time. Have you seen it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
so
the first episode for sure.
yeah. Okay. So mild spoilers for a show that came out 8 years ago, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, but the first episode is one random taxi killer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very lowbrow crime. It's not
well,
anything
like
special.
I think he kills 3 people.
Yeah, but there's no moving parts. It's
Yeah.
very much there is a killer. We need to find him. We find him.
Yeah.
We're done.
He's very smart and all, but like it's not very complicated.
Yeah. It goes straight into Moriarty and the grand plan. You know, the next episode, it's building towards that.
Mm.
And there's something about that I'm just like, we don't need that scale. You know, it's like when Fast and Furious has these nuclear bombs, and you're like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I think for me, that first Sherlock Holmes film, Robert Downey Jr., hits that perfectly. We have a grand plan, but it's not so grand that it's ridiculous.
Yes.
It starts to scale up, but it never gets too large, but it's also not so low that it just feels like Sherlock Holmes, another day on the job. You know?
That's true. It's not like your CSI, like it doesn't matter whether or not they solve this crime and whatever. Yeah, no, I think I mean Sherlock Holmes as a character fits perfectly into Guy Ritchie's world and his complicated plots and stuff, because that is just like obviously Sherlock Holmes as a master detective and figuring stuff out that no one else can see and stuff lends itself so well to creating all these different paths and intersections and
I think this is one of those films that for plot reasons justifies a second viewing.
Yeah.
Because all the clues for how Sherlock Holmes figures it out are there. So if you can think like that with that knowledge as well, you should be able to figure it out along the same pace. Yeah. But obviously the stuff like, oh, the frog that's half dead, and you're like, okay, cool. And then it's after where Sherlock explains what that actually means, and you go, oh. So you watch it back and you go, okay, no, I see that now. Yeah. You know, when Sherlock licks the rock in the gravestone, you're like, it's a bit weird. You know, it's just like a kind of Jack Sparrow character trait, but actually no, there's glue that's putting that together.
Yeah, I'm not sure because I don't remember the first time I saw it and what I thought then. Fair. But like now watching it, it definitely feels like they are just giving you detailed shots of what's important. So I can't imagine the first time you're like, oh, we're just getting all these details of like him gathering information. But then you don't know that literally every single one is a clue to
is the answer.
Is the answer. Yeah.
No, I think it's done really well from that thing. And I like you say, I think Sherlock Holmes is the perfect Guy Ritchie character. Like if he was gonna jump into a franchise, that'd be
No, and I also think it's the right scale of film. Because it doesn't feel like a huge Hollywood blockbuster. No. But still has all the qualities of a film at that level. And
so it's incredibly well made.
Yeah.
No, again with none of these films really aged, to be honest, considering some of them are 20 years old.
And you get amazing actors. You get Robert Downey Jr., you get Jude Law, you still get...
I think this is my favorite wedding performance.
Yeah.
I think it
works really well.
Really like the way he thinks.
There's only Sherlock Holmes or
Sherlock Holmes,
yeah.
But compared to like Sherlock, which Benedict Cumberbatch's performance is beloved. But he's just a bit of an arse. Like there's things he doesn't really get, and I think it feels more like Robert Downey Jr.'s Sherlock Holmes is just not that he doesn't get it, but he knows how to play people to his advantage in a nice way. So like him and Watson are friends, and he'll like leave his gun so that Watson will come, and he's like just playful, like, you know, he wants to keep his friend. That's a huge Sherlock Holmes book plot is how he wants to keep Watson as a friend, and he'll lose that when he gets married.
Hmm.
And that is played. Whereas compared to the TV show, I feel like they've gotten just a bit more self-centered.
Yeah, I mean they definitely in the TV show they definitely play off of him being a sociopath so much more.
Well, I mean, he even says it outright a
Yeah.
couple times. Yeah.
But also, well, I'm not exactly sure. I don't know my psychology that well, but like him being a sociopath makes him just that much more of an asshole in the TV show.
Like it feels like in the TV show he's trying to solve the crime no matter what. Whereas in RDJ's performance, he's like, I could solve this crime, but it'd be more fun with my buddy. So how do I kind of trick him to come along with me, and we'll both have a good time together?
For sure, you definitely get those elements, which is.
And I think that's what you want when you watch a film like that. You want to see two mates get along, not someone kind of drag a sidekick.
Yes, and it is also not a buddy cop film where like they fall out.
They never fall out is great. They have like arguments.
Yeah, I mean, even in the second one, where you definitely have moments of like,
did you just kill my wife?
Yeah, Watson hating him for like a good 2 minutes, but it's not them falling out. He's just like, what have you done? What have you done?
Yeah, and it only takes a second to be like, no, I've done this, this, this. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. Whereas a lot of these films have the problem of like, they really don't like each other for a good portion of the film. But it makes it fun. You know, when people are friends, because they are friends.
Yeah.
It just makes it enjoyable to be along the ride. You want to spend time with these characters. And Watson's wife is horrible. That is one scene that really bugs me. So you've seen the film when she's like, you know, tell me about me, because you obviously can't tell about Watson. And both Sherlock Holmes and Watson are like, no, another time, no, not now, not now. And she's like, I insist. And then he does it.
The lady insists.
Oh yeah, the lady insists. But then he does it almost perfectly. You know, he gets one thing wrong, and she's like super offended and chucks wine at him, and then it's all really awkward.
Yeah, I guess he gets the wrong thing wrong.
But like,
no, I mean, I also don't think. Yeah, she asked for him to do that, and then
got offended when he did
that reaction is a bit much. I don't know.
I don't like that. I'd be kind of. I mean, he takes it really well. Props to him.
He takes it really well.
But like, I would just be kind of.
No, because he also knows like how, I guess, how effective negatively what he said would have been.
Yeah.
As in like you left your husband or whatever when he died. Like, yeah, that's not something you want to hear after recently. Like, that's the whole point of like her ring, the shadow, or like the tan line still showing means that it must have been very recent. I think you've recently just lost your husband, then yeah, you're probably gonna be more upset about it.
Yeah, the fact that both if Watson was like no and Sherlock was like, oh no, I'll do it, you know, then fair. The fact that both of them are like, no, I'm always like, oh come on, you know. Whereas
no, she definitely had a fair warning.
Yeah, like she knows guarantee. Which I guess that's a life lesson to us all. If someone warns you about something and you do it anyway, and then you get upset about it. But that is also we talked about this in a previous airing it out very recently. But the chemistry between Irene Adler and Sherlock Holmes is they nail it.
Very tasteful.
You can tell these are two people at opposite ends of like job prospects.
It's just so they're just so cute together.
But they are, yeah.
Because like she's playing him,
he's playing her as well.
But he's also I mean their first encounter when she just shows up in the and he's like trying to hide everything that could like show that he's thinking about her and stuff, and she knows full well.
And she's got this file on me, and you're like,
It's really good. It's really good, and it is just such a nice undertone that motivates. I think that's done so well that you have these motivations for Sherlock to do what he's doing, with Irene Adler and with Watson, but it's never blatant. You know, it's never like never straight out says, "Oh, I'm in love with this woman, but she's on the other side of the playing field with the enemy in that sense, so I'm having."
I mean, she's also a super criminal.
Yeah, that's it. That's a huge conflict for me. Or, I want my best friend to live a happy life, but his happy life is gonna be exactly what I don't want. because I want him to still be my friend and help me with solving crimes.
He never needs to outright say it.
No.
But it's portrayed so effectively.
Yeah. And it threads all the way through both films.
Yeah.
I mean,
I don't like the second one as much.
No, I think we then hit a scale that makes it a bit harder.
Yeah, because it tries to do bigger, grander, whatever, and I think that's a bit of a shame. There are parts of it I thoroughly enjoy, but I think it's a shame to kind of leave Britain.
Mm-hmm.
It makes it feel a little bit removed.
Yeah,
I think so. Like when they're running around Belgium, Switzerland. I don't know where all the gypsies are.
Well, that's in France.
France.
Yeah, I think they go to France, then to Germany, and then in Switzerland as the final show off.
Sure. But none of the locations are distinct enough to be like, oh, Charlotte's going around the world. It's just other places.
Yeah, that's true.
So, like, we don't care if that fortune teller woman gets killed, particularly by the Russian assassin. Yeah. It's like, okay. So.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. It seems less of a solving a mystery than the whole cat and mouse, which that's definitely what it is.
Yeah.
But I think it's less rewarding because it's not like you're picking up on clues, trying to figure it out as Sherlock is figuring it out. But it's always oh, I'm doing this. No, that was the wrong thing. Then I'm doing this. No, it was the he's always doing a 50-50.
And even like so when he finally gets that red book, there's no way to know really as the audience, I don't think.
No. So you don't pick up on that at all.
There's no way to know. And then it's like, oh, they have it. And you're like, how do they have it? And then it explains, and it's like, okay. And that's the kind of, so I'll not go into specifics about what that is, but that's kind of the final play. Yeah. That seals the fate of one of the characters. But it's kind of shown not off screen, but there's no way to tell that it's happened. And I think that's a shame.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's still sharp. The dialogue's still really good, but in terms of the plot itself, and I guess it's a shame the third one never got made, because obviously after this was 2011, but then after that, that's when the MCU really started to explode. Yeah. So Robert Downey Jr. was just
no, and I mean they are also films, not like a TV show where as you said, like it doesn't make sense to have a very contained first episode and then like you go straight into like big universe whatever stuff, but in a film I think it does make a lot more sense because you probably won't do a lot of them.
I also think though they do connect well.
Oh yeah.
So the thread is sewn in the first film for the second one.
Yeah.
Which incredibly well done, because it would be a shame to be like, this supervillain that's been here the whole time you've just never interacted with. It's like no, they have interacted. He just doesn't really know. Yeah. And that's well done.
Yeah. But, so that the first film is only a part of the grander plan that he figures out later on is quite nice. And to also establish the characters in the first one already. Yeah, it is not quite
on par. But the next one I think is going to be quite divisive. So Garage took a wee break to make music videos.
Oh yeah.
And his next film was The Man from U.n.c.l.e. in 2015. And as far as I understand, you're not a huge fan of this film.
I don't know. I mean, from all of these films, I think it is the least entertaining.
No. Hard disagree.
Oh, you say Aladdin?
I think The Man from U.n.c.l.e.
that's a very different kind of entertaining.
The Man from U.n.c.l.e. is the least Guy Ritchie film. I think. The comedy's slightly different. So it's much more. So you've probably not seen it. We'll not get full spoilers, but kind of plot synopsis is you've got an American agent and a Russian agent, and they have to work together to overthrow a crime organization that have a nuclear warhead. And most of the film is kind of about.
Well, it's set during the Cold War, so Americans and Russians teaming.
They don't get on in real life. So but the agents. Most of it is about the Russian and the American agent kind of playing off each other and becoming friends.
Yeah.
A lot of it's insulting. It goes from kind of hard insulting to playful, and then they actually kind of get on in the end. Light spoilers, whatever. But I think I like it. I like that kind of humor. Especially from the midpoint on. I think that's really nice to see.
To be like a playful, insulting.
Yeah. It resonates with me. I understand how it can be, especially because we watched all these films in a very short space of time. It's jarringly different.
Well, it's not jarringly different because you do get a lot of like comedy out of people insulting each other in the other films.
It's not quite as sharp though.
I think it's way more funny though.
No. In terms of, I don't think Man from U.n.c.l.E. is as sharp. Like it doesn't make a thing of being like, whereas if you go back to even Snatch, you go like, what are you waiting for? The Germans? And then it's like cut, and it goes on to something else.
Yeah.
Whereas Man from U.n.c.l.E. definitely has taken its time.
The insults aren't as sharp, and I think also just, it's a different style of film. Like, you definitely get the comic stuff. I think The Man from U.n.c.l.E. or like U.n.c.l.E. is a comic originally?
It is a TV show.
It's a TV show?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know, because you get like comic-esque stuff, like montages with like
split screen editing, but it's like they'll cut out. Hang on, I can figure this out.
Yeah.
There we go. Figured out my framing. Like basically, this part of the frame in this weird diagonal section.
Yeah, as if that TV monitor screen is showing you something else, and then they have like moving lines and stuff. It's kind of, that doesn't happen all too often, but it just sets the tone.
It just, and the plot is far more linear.
Yeah.
So all of his films are in chronological order. Yeah, all of them are in chronological order. So they never do like the Pulp Fiction time switcheroo. Not that I can think of.
Not to that extent. You definitely get moments where like
it can be slightly out of sync.
Flashbacks, or like you have something that happens,
but it's very clear. Yeah. Whereas it, like, in terms of the multi-threaded plot, is very much told in a linear path.
Yeah.
But because Man from U.n.c.l.E. is only ever following these two characters, I think it feels far more contained. So it's two guys on their linear journey.
Yeah. I guess there's a lot of enjoyment lost. No, but that complexity is gone. Yeah, it's totally unfair because like it's not a bad film. That's not what I'm saying at all. But like you lose so much enjoyment from like figuring out that something that's complicated, or watching something that is really complicated just come together and thread together, because all they do in this sense is just like mission,
normal thing.
Okay, mission, next step.
The thing is,
next step, next step.
I think if you went and described like a Guy Ritchie film as this one of all these characters and multi-threaded plots, and it all comes together with sharp dialogue and it's funny and stuff. There are elements of that in Man from U.n.c.l.E., but I think it is a bad Guy Ritchie film.
Yeah.
In that sense of the word. But if you compare this to like films that's actually similar to like Kingsman, or all those other kind of offshoots of James Bond, essentially, I thoroughly prefer Man from U.n.c.l.E. in that genre space. I think Kingsman's far overhyped for what it is.
I really enjoy Kingsman.
Have you seen the second one?
Nope, I don't want to. I don't want to, because just from the trailer, I was like, I'm definitely gonna hate Kingsman after seeing the second one.
I don't know. There's something, for me, Kingsman's over the top, whereas Man from U.n.c.l.E. is grounded but still playful. These characters could be real.
I feel like they are playing off the same joke a lot. The whole like America versus Russia, they don't find a lot of ways to make that funny. So it is kind of the same joke over and over again. Or like the struggle in that sense is pretty much the same. And that's a bit of a shame, because then it's like doesn't seem to be a whole lot new.
Yeah. The comedy never really progresses.
Yeah.
I think if you like the first 20 minutes of the film, you'll like all of it. And if you don't, you won't. It never does.
Well, I don't think necessarily, but like if you're okay with the first 20 minutes being the rest of the film, yeah. But if it's like 20 minutes and then you definitely need something fresh,
Yeah. But like, if you're like, if the whole film was this, like, I think you
Yeah.
could take any chunk from that movie, and if you like that chunk, you'll like the whole film. It doesn't really do anything. The plot is very forgettable.
Yeah.
The acting's fine. I think it's actually a really good performance from Armie Hammer in particular. Well, because he was playing the villain at the start, and then ends up being very likable. I think he's quite charming.
Yeah.
I think he does that really well.
No, I think he definitely does the whole awkward. I mean, he's thrown in a lot of awkward situations, which is quite nice.
Which, compared to his other roles, where, I mean, he is humongous. So it's quite impressive to see him do that. Whereas, like, Henry Cavill is playing Henry Cavill.
No, I think that is quite nice, because you do get two absolute alpha males as characters face off, and I guess in them comparing themselves.
Yeah.
I don't want to, like, but like that is funny.
And it's done way better than, like, again, Fast and Furious, Rock versus Vin Diesel, where you have these two alpha males that are like, how are we going to sell this? Fisticuffs.
Yeah.
And that's just boring. Whereas you got these two guys that are ginormous, and they're verbally insulting each other, which I think is quite fun.
Maybe because one of the funniest situations is when they're at the fence.
And they're cutting the wires.
Yeah.
He's like, yes.
And, like, I saw that in the trailer, so I think that's, like, one of the funniest moments was already taken.
The trailer?
Yeah.
Never watched the trailer.
I didn't know.
The only film that I've ever seen a trailer for and then watched the film and been like a funny film was Deadpool, because they wrote entirely separate jokes for the trailer, which I thought was incredible. So you still knew when the joke was coming, but apart from that, you could watch it and everything was fresh.
Yeah. That's why their bloopers are so amazing, because they just have 15 different
jokes. But no, so anything that's funny, I still stay away from a trailer, because
I didn't know. I was just like, what is this film? And then I watched the trailer, and then, like, certainly months afterwards I watched it, but it was
it's still the funniest thing. What's this, CO2 laser?
Don't spoil it now. Maybe people will want to watch it.
I think it's a very different kind of film if you're going for like a Guy Ritchie filmography.
Yeah.
In terms of what it did for his filmmaking, though, I'm glad it exists, because I think it's the first and probably only film where he plays with having a much slower pace, like much slower. And I think that really pays off in one of his future films, which we'll get to.
Which one could it be?
But for now, let's go back to the fast-paced, swashbuckling action of 2017.
Swashbuckling action.
King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. So this was meant to be the first in a 5-film
That's insane.
series. And we haven't really talked much about the box office success of these films. So Sherlock Holmes did incredibly well. Sherlock Holmes 2 did pretty good too. We're talking hundreds of millions in profit. The rest of his films are kind of fine. They usually pull in a bit of profit in the millions.
But I assume enough for him to keep working for a couple of years,
but also
his new script.
Nothing to write home about either.
No.
Like, nothing that's like, so like Christopher Nolan, where every film he makes is earth-shattering, you know, and it's like, oh, you can make Interstellar, billions.
Yeah.
Inception, billions. And you're like, okay. They all do fine. King Arthur, on the other hand, bombed hard. So it lost of its production budget, I think it was 30 million down, and usually the marketing budget is double the production budget, and this was pushed hard as well. So losing 100 million at least.
I don't get it. I enjoy it.
Thoroughly understand. So I also really enjoy this movie, but I think the one it can be compared to most of Sherlock Holmes, because it's not Guy Ritchie's characters. It's not characters that he's written. This is King Arthur, a character that is long-standing. I think when you say like Sherlock Holmes is perfect for a Guy Ritchie film, King Arthur isn't. I think it's a really good film, but as soon as you go, but this is meant to be like this, you've lost it, because it is not. It is nothing like that.
You can't go in thinking like it's a medieval, you know, what is that film with Heath Ledger where they're knights?
Knight's Tale.
Knight's Tale. No way.
But even Knight's Tale is a comedy like that. They've got like Queen in there. Like, Queen.
But like it's not at all the same kind of film, you know. You still have a lot of CGI.
Well, not even that. So I think the problem is it's not grounded in reality, but obviously King Arthur isn't meant to be. You got the Lady of the Lake and
but still,
stuff, but it's not that kind of
you can still
fantasy
get
either.
Game of Thrones fantasy where, like, yes, dragons exist, but everything else is kind of
But
normal.
it's not even high fantasy, I don't think. King Arthur is
No,
a modern film with a old school dressing. I think that's the problem. So it's not
Yeah.
high fantasy, it's not low fantasy. And what I mean by that, so high fantasy would be like what's a good example? Like Aragon, Clash of Titans, anything like that, where it's like everything's super perfect, super pretty, and you've got these mythical heroes that are better than everything. Low fantasy is stuff like Witcher, Game of Thrones, where the world is really gritty, grimy, and magic does exist.
Yeah.
And then it, obviously you got like historical.
Yeah.
Is just historically accurate. So like I don't know, Robin Hood. The Russell Crowe one would be like a historical film or Gladiator, stuff like that.
Yes.
And this feels like none of them, and it just feels like they've taken bits from everywhere and then taken stuff like Rock and Roller and gone, right, we're gonna
map this on.
We're gonna chuck it on. So it just doesn't work tonally. I think that's the film's problem. Because as a film, it's brilliant.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think a lot of people just didn't know or didn't expect the right thing from it. And that's a shame because I also think it's a thoroughly entertaining film.
Yeah.
Like, you can complain about some bad CGI. But also
bad CGI. But I also think that's the point of
it's not a
ton of money and then gone, we're never gonna get this back. Like, let's just stop rendering these CG birds, and then there's a sequence that is incredibly bad. I think
also some very good sequences, like his fighting. You know
which fighting?
The second one, the
long one?
The long one?
No.
It's not bad.
It's not bad, but it looks like a video game cutscene.
A little bit.
A lot. Basically, he's not real. So Charlie Hunnam is the main character. He's rendered in a computer. And I think 2017, this kind of budget, we're not there. And like, even if you look at like Tarkin in Rogue One, which came out the same year before. Yeah. But that was Disney money. And still looked a little like whoa. And there's only so many smoke and gravel effects that you can put on. It just isn't real. I think a proof of all this would be Guy Ritchie just doesn't do action that well, and a lot of these action sequences aren't anything to write home about. And if that's what's kind of grounding your movie, you've got a problem.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess action in terms of like sword fights and that stuff. Like he's in all the other films, you still get like guns and people getting shot, but it's not actually action scenes.
It's drama. It's Game of Thrones in the first 4 seasons. Like, sure, sword fights happen, but it's there to kill a character, not to enjoy watching the fight scene because they're awfully choreographed.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, but like in terms of storytelling, it has amazing elements. So you get, I think it's at the very beginning when the main character Arthur is asked to recall.
Arthur?
Yeah.
No way.
It's just like
in this film
doesn't make sense.
King Arthur.
Say the main character. It's Arthur. Arthur is asked to recall.
This is by far the strongest sequence in the film.
What he's done during that day. And so you have this really, really well executed, fast paced, him saying something that blends into flashbacks of that happening. And so it's like, is he saying it or is the character in the flashback saying it? So they have like amazing voiceovers, or it's not voiceover because like it switches back and forth, and it's really cool. It makes it really fast, and it's exactly that what I said, like with the exposition not feeling like exposition, and you spend way less time just setting up a scene or like a situation.
I would say that's definitely the strongest sequence in the film. There are some low points though. So like when they go to the shadow world or whatever that sequence is, not a great way for him to get comfortable. And the fact that doesn't actually lead to him getting comfortable either. It's just kind of an excuse to show a flashback.
Yeah.
That I feel like there's a tighter way to do that because the film's not short either.
Yeah, no, that's definitely time that could have been cut.
Yeah, and because Guy Ritchie, I think across all the board here, his dialogue is perfect.
Yeah.
You know, it's fast, it's quick. So as soon as you take one guy and send him on an adventure into this world with wolves that doesn't quite
bounce and whatever
place, and you're like, okay, no one's talking, the action's not great, the CG's passable. You're losing something, and then for its no real plot reason,
yeah,
you've got a problem.
No, it's definitely his strength in terms of dialogue, but also in terms of characters playing each other. And so, like, you have this whole Arthur just going through a bit of a hero's journey all by himself, really, and just everyone else being actual side characters. I think that's a problem, because you don't have 10 main characters, you have only one, and then side characters where you're like, okay.
I think if you took out that bit that you talked about where he's telling the story at the start, this would fall into the same trap as Man from U.n.c.l.E. I think that one sequence, maybe 5-10 minutes, redeems the whole movie in terms of it being a good Guy Ritchie film.
I think when they set up the trap where they want to shoot the king with a bow, that's also, it's not
set up as well either,
but it is pretty cool.
It's a good sequence, but I think it feels like if that was there, is if someone said this is someone that's trying to copy Guy Ritchie's style, I'd believe it.
I think the escape is also done really well.
After the running cam, we've not actually talked about that. But so like, Guy Ritchie, every time someone runs, it has the camera follow them.
Not every time, but like there are definitely there are a lot of moments where like it seems as though the camera is attached to the person.
Yeah,
which like
especially in
I can't figure out how they do it.
Half the cast, so like half the Knights of the Round Table, are guys from the caves, like Rubio.
Yeah,
I don't know who that is.
No, I think that's where you totally notice at the end there was more to come that just wasn't explained in the film, and so it's a kind of like, who are these people? Why aren't they fleshed out at all? And then it's like, sure, they would have done that in later movies, but that's a bit of a shame that we don't get any of that in the first film already. I think, I feel just a bit at a loss.
I think the film's really good, but go in without expectation and you'll have a really good time. I think is definitely a way to go. It's definitely an enjoyable watch kind of movie.
Yeah,
you're gonna have a nice time watching it rather than like, I don't know, something incredible and you're gonna be disappointed. I think for the general audiences, they probably went in with the expectation of a King Arthur movie, and this isn't it.
It's not at all epic. You know, it's not a historical epic. It's not
even
historical
action film.
Yeah,
it's just nothing.
Yeah,
like that at all. And I think that's the problem of why it made no money.
Yeah,
obviously the film's good, but
I definitely think you get more of like the new Robin Hood with Kingsman main character whose name I just don't know, and Jamie Foxx.
Oh, the Robin Hood.
Yeah,
the new one.
The new one. Because it doesn't take Robin Hood in a very historically accurate
plot of
way.
That identical to Batman Begins?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yes.
You never thought of that?
No, I didn't. No, but it's
also not a film you want to compare it to, because that film also lost many, many millions. So that's, he's talking about the Ansel
Eric
Reich. So this is something we do want to talk about. The three actors have the same name. We'll get into this in an area out.
It's not Ansel. It's not
Alden. No, he did Solo. They're all the same person.
No, but like it's
Kingsman boy.
I think you could fall into the same trap of saying like, oh, we've seen Robin Hood films being like very historically accurate, or just like
Taron Egerton.
That's the name. And it's not that either. But like, if you don't go in with that expectation, I think you're gonna have a much more enjoyable view.
Yeah, like I do think that it sets itself up to be enjoyed by. You still need to think a little bit, and I think that's the problem. Whereas Robin Hood is more like, they made a trashy action film, and that's what they tried to make, and it made no money because poor marketing decisions. But whereas King Arthur isn't a trashy action film,
it's not
even enjoyable from that.
Yeah.
aspect. It's still the thinking man's crime film, but with this weird setting that doesn't really fit.
That's true.
I think that's a shame because as far as a Guy Ritchie film, it's not bad. There's stuff that he's playing with there that he's never done before, with the CG, with the action, that fails, but the stuff that he does well is still done really, really well. And Charlie Hunnam, he found him as an actor for this film, and thank God he did.
I was just about to say, like, I'm very, very glad that film didn't, like, plummet him to a point where he couldn't make.
Well, this is the thing. It actually, so Guy Ritchie's most profitable film by a good margin, so it crossed the billion mark, was Aladdin, his next movie in 2019.
You dreaded that so much.
So I don't like Disney as a company. I think they got a lot of very, very good films. But they about the same year they started doing 3 Marvel films in 1 year, there was a shift in kind of their filmmaking ideals, I think. So that's when they started to do all the live action remakes of stuff, or whatever you want to call them, CG remakes of animated movies, which no one really asked for. And a lot of them are just shot for shot the same. And then they started doing, like, you know, the Beauty and the Beast is how it started, and everyone was really excited for that. And then when they start doing more and more and more, and everyone's like, okay, let's just chill. 3 Marvel films a year. One of them is usually superfluous. Star Wars obviously went downhill tremendously. That's done now. I think this. I wasn't excited for this. I like the Aladdin cartoon. I grew up with the Aladdin cartoon. I'm not one of those people that goes back to my childhood films because I find it hard to, like, look without nostalgia goggles. So I usually end up watching them with my brain today, and I'm like, oh no. Still issues with those films, you know. Watched as a kid. But we watched it. I was willing to watch it. My word. And also I full well knew that this film was not received well. Like, so knowing that as well.
I mean, I totally agree with, like, this is a film that no one needed. Like, no. I don't think no one was asking for this. And I remember with, like, all the remakes coming out, there were definitely some memes that I thought were amazing. And, like, these are all the remakes that we absolutely do not need, but please remake these animated Disney movies that could really, really benefit from a remake, first of all, because they weren't as good as they could have been. And if you make them a live action movie, they would actually be incredible. Like, they would benefit from being live action. But with The Lion King, with, I think, Aladdin, with Beauty and the Beast, you know, there's the animated films are pretty much as perfect as they
can
be, and so you don't need a remake, and you don't need the whole live action aspect to it. I have to say, though, I am curious about Mulan, because that actually seems to be
a
different approach.
Sadly, the lead actress from Mulan and a lot of the cast members as well, have come out and supported the Chinese government when all the Hong Kong protests were coming out. As far as I'm aware, that film got delayed because of everything that's going on in the world right now. But I think that might hurt their bottom line quite hard, because the Chinese market is the one you want to get for sure to hit that, like, upper echelon money. But if a film doesn't do well in America, it's unlikely to do well anywhere else. So that seems to be, if you look at the kind of box office trends, and that's what Disney is looking at, a film will hit $1 billion no problem in the American market these days of that scale. To get past $2 billion, you need to do well in America and China, and nothing that does well in China only does particularly well anywhere else.
Yeah, I don't know if that's, like, pure politics, because, you know, I think that's what annoys me a lot about Disney, is, like, they know people will watch their films because they are Disney films. And that's just really annoying, because then you get this whole, like, I'm really reluctant to see it, but I know that they know, because I know they know I will go and watch this. But I don't know, it just really dampens my motivation to go, but not enough to not go and see the film. Well, I haven't seen a lot of them, because
I was gonna say, I've seen none of them in the cinema. The only Disney films I've seen Infinity War, Endgame, and the Star Wars movies recently.
Yeah, so I've only seen Aladdin from the remakes. I think that's precisely.
From the remakes that apply that. Did you see it in cinema?
No.
No. Okay. Cool.
No. But like that's also the only one that
I've seen Beauty and the Beast. It's terrible. But Aladdin is truly something else. It's. I mean, you know what? Let's get into it.
Get into
right. So, Guy Ritchie's background, he used to be married to Madonna, and he did a lot of music videos for her, and he's taken a lot of breaks in his career to make music videos, and I think that really, really shows here.
Yeah.
So, in terms of as a musical number, quite Bollywood style, you've got the music songs, the songs they sing are very well choreographed. They're as far as I can tell, the songs are good. They're well sung for the most part. Like it's fine. You know, that element of the film is fine. I think it's
for the most part we're cutting out Will Smith here.
Well, I think Will Smith is fine because he is a singer, or a rapper. But when you're competing with Robin Williams' iconic songs,
I mean that's huge.
You've got a real struggle. And heck, I've even still got some like remixes of like Friend Like Me, like electro swing remixes on my playlist today. And I think when you start competing with stuff like that is so well known, and you're pretty much just copying it, you've got a problem.
Yeah.
The rest of the film is utter garbage as far as I'm concerned. Is there anything you want to give it praise for?
Well, it was funny because you did mention some stuff where I'm like, yes, absolutely, and I've noticed this even watching the trailer. I'm like, this looks
too trailer watcher.
Well, yeah. No, but it's like it looks too clean, it looks too shiny, it looks too saturated. Like you have all these colors and they're all hitting you with such force because it's like so sharp and in your face, and you're like,
you got nothing nice to say about the film.
No, I totally get that, and I was annoyed by that as well because you don't feel like you're in a dusty place or anything. Like yes, it's all sandstone, but it looks like someone went through and dressed everything. You know,
this wasn't filmed in a country. This was filmed in a giant warehouse, and they built everything from scratch.
And you can tell. I think that is
it feels so fake.
You can tell. And like when you said like this makes me want to watch
Prince of Persia,
because those sets actually look like they are.
So Prince of Persia is the what's the guy's name?
Jake Gyllenhaal.
Gyllenhaal. We got you, Jake. But Prince of Persia came out what 2008, 2007.
Yeah.
And I think it's in the same vein as King Arthur or Man from U.n.c.l.e. It's very watchable. It's nothing special.
It's entertaining.
It's watchable. And about 20 minutes into Aladdin, I was like, can we stop this and watch Prince of Persia? Like, it's so much better because it feels like, okay, it's set in Persia. But it just feels like they're in a place.
Yeah.
There's fantasy elements where they've got slow motion time daggers, but it still feels grounded.
Yeah.
And Aladdin just isn't. It feels like they've made everything from scratch. The guy's wearing a hoodie.
I mean, we are still watching a Disney film in a make-believe land, so maybe I'm not actually defending this point, but I'm just posing it.
Of course.
Maybe that is kind of what they are going for, because it isn't a real place in that sense, and therefore, like, it doesn't have to be a real place. I don't know, just putting that out there, because I think a lot of people will want to argue that.
Of course. No, that's fine. I feel like there's a difference between making it feel fantastical and making it feel like a movie set.
Yeah.
And for me, instantly, I was like, not only is this place just too clean and too perfect, but like you can see the makeup on actors. Like this is a set of music videos. It's like watching Beyonce's Lemonade almost. Like it's just going from song to song.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing.
Yeah.
And it's
no, like Beyonce's Lemonade is on a different level.
Sure, but also in terms of it just being
no, I have to
song set piece that kind of makes no sense. Song set piece makes no sense. It's just they're there to sing.
I think there are a lot of cool sequences in the songs for sure. Like dancing and like him, I think the very first one where they do the whole parkour thing while singing.
He's running away. Yeah, sure.
But I think bottom line, for me at least, why I enjoyed it so much is because of the enjoyment of Aladdin as the musical. So it was more like a, oh, this is the music, you know, it's getting me in the music and the songs that I enjoy.
Okay.
But like, it's definitely not even close to seeing Aladdin the musical in a musical theater.
So this is where can I look back to, because I don't like musicals. Not as a rule, because there are ones that I enjoy, but in terms of if someone had to say what's your least favorite genre, that's probably it. But I don't want to come and critique that just yet, because people won't like that. But I think first and foremost, there are not only plot issues, but just like casting issues. So
yes, Jafar
is what, mid-20s? Yeah. And I actually pulled up on my phone. I was like, have I just forgotten? Like, did Kid Me think that 20-year-old looked like 60? Yeah, but no, he's meant to be an old dude, and you've got this guy, and he's got this stick that looks like he's got into a toy shop and picked out a snake stick. Again, looks fake.
The I have no issue with the staff or so, but like
it added to that. Just like, what is this world?
I think
and he's not mean.
It's such a small thing, and this is also nothing to go against the actor or anything, but like something that really annoys me about Jafar is that he doesn't have a really low and scary voice. He has a very high voice, and I'm like, I don't know, I'm not intimidated by you like shouting, because shouting, anyone can shout, you know?
Yeah.
I would really like to have like the original voice, or like say Scar. Scar is terrifying because he just has a
Jeremy Irons.
Yeah, he just has a growl.
Why would you recast him? He's still in the acting game. What were they thinking?
I don't know.
Wrong film.
No, but like I think Jafar would have been way more scary as a villain if this guy didn't look as clean, you know, well trimmed. I don't know.
He looked perfect. He'd gone into a toy store, picked up a Jafar outfit, and gone out on Halloween. And he's like, okay, I've got the right beard and skin color, and that's it. None of the mannerisms are there. None of that imposing nature is there. And it just,
no, that's and
also
the thing, like,
to say not criticizing someone's performance. To be clear, no one's performance in this film is great.
I do like Aladdin has that smirk spot on.
I think he's having a good time filming this. And also, this kid knows that his career has just skyrocketed.
Yeah. No, that's all I'm gonna say. I think that the perfect thing about this film
his smile.
Is his smile. Like, that is Aladdin's smile.
This is my next issue though, is with Aladdin.
Yeah.
His character is like this.
Yeah, that's really annoying.
He's all over the place. He's like, oh, okay, no, I have to be a prince. And then there's so many opportunities where you're like, come clean, come clean, come clean. Or not even come clean totally, but just be yourself.
I don't know if that's the problem with the film though, or just generally the story of Aladdin, that they just copied and didn't improve.
But then,
because I don't remember. Yeah, I don't remember how the original.
I don't remember how the cartoon.
Like, they definitely could have made that better.
Yeah, or just had less opportunities where it's just him and Jasmine, and you're like, this is the moment. Like, if you do not even come clean, but just be yourself, be funny.
And especially with like Disney doing remakes and trying to do something also politically with them, this could have definitely been a huge.
Yeah, so you see, you don't have to be rich.
Yeah.
Because he's like doubting that she likes him, and it's like, you had nothing but chemistry when you first met. Like, you have no reason for this. And there's that bit where they're out on the carpet, and he's like, I think it's time to go back now. And back they go. I was kind of like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, they're not gonna make out on the carpet?
Well,
there you go. But you can cut away. Put a train going through a tunnel, I don't know. Like,
hold up. No, yeah.
There's ways to show it without showing it, you know. Whereas he's just like, yeah, no, end of date, bye.
I think it would have been a nice thing for them just not to perpetuate the whole, like, I gotta be rich. Ooh, Jesus Christ.
I caught it.
You also caught me. No, but like, just for them not to perpetuate the whole thing, like, I gotta be rich, I gotta be this, that, and that to get the girl for so long. Like, yes, of course, that is his initial way of thinking, and that's also what he needs to get their attention. And I understand that, but I would really have liked to see that change just so much faster. And then him actually coming clean, that being a source of tension, because then she could be okay with it, but the Sultan would be like, no, and traditional and whatever.
Yeah.
You
They,
could,
they
you know,
never even
it doesn't
attempt
mean
to
that,
try.
yeah, it doesn't mean that him coming clean releases all the tension and conflict. It could spark other tension and conflict or whatever. So it's not that the film is over at that point, but it's a nicer way to go about it.
No, for sure. But in terms of the musicality of the film, so the kind of musical that I enjoy is stuff like Sweeney Todd, and there are some songs in Les Mis that I think do really well in terms of it is an inner monologue that someone's having. So it's a way to portray thinking in a way that kind of feels natural.
Yeah, something you can't do in dialogue or showing.
And it's something that you can do in a book really well, is you can just write what someone's thinking. But there's no real way for a film to do it other than voiceover, which is a bit overdone. So I think that's something that films can do, and you can have some really good conflicted characters, and that's why I think stuff like Phantom of the Opera and Sweeney Todd work so well, and also Shakespeare, because you just have them go into monologue, and it kind of feels natural in Old English. And that's why you can have these great tragedies. Aladdin doesn't do that. It's just got people singing, not only to break into song to have a conversation, but just singing for the sake of singing. Like, there'll be a sentence, they're like, song time. We're going to sing a song here. And I think that's also fine in a kid's film, in a kid's cartoon. But as soon as you live action it, I think you're appealing to a different audience. Not a different audience, per se, but a larger audience.
So, yeah, I mean, yeah.
Otherwise, why not keep it a cartoon? Other than for money.
No, I mean, yes, that's what's so annoying about them, is like, yes, you're targeting the people who watch those as kids, like as cartoons, that are gonna take their kids to watch them, and probably the parents that took them as kids to watch the cartoons are also gonna watch them as like a whole family thing, and then maybe some other people that are interested in Disney and can get on board with something that is an animation.
But this film is doing none of it.
No.
In terms of Guy Ritchie, which is what this video is, nothing. It's like his music videos. There's the dialogue isn't snappy.
Absolutely,
there is
couldn't say
character. Honestly, I was shocked to find out, and I was actually, because I knew Aladdin did bad reviews. But if you look at his two previous films, The Legend of the Sword, King Arthur, did terribly. And Man of Uncle didn't do that great either. And I was like, maybe, right? There was a little spark of hope, and I thought maybe Aladdin didn't do well because it is really Guy Ritchie. And for a Disney film, people didn't like that. And they're going to critique it for that. But still made tons of money because everyone goes to Disney films anyway. No. Not the case.
Not the case.
Not the case.
Not because Guy Ritchie.
It's just a bad.
Yeah.
And I.
Yeah. No, I mean, definitely if you want. What I really enjoy about Aladdin as a story, as the musical, is all the show. So I was in London and I watched Wicked, and the next day I watched Aladdin, and I was like, ooh, I feel like I'm enjoying Aladdin more because it is just pure entertainment. You have exactly that. It goes song, 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 show, big flash,
or
blah, blah. In terms of musicals, I was sitting in the musical Aladdin thinking, wow, I think I'm enjoying this more, even though...
Than Wicked.
Yeah, than Wicked. But solely for the reason that it is just one big show that is incredibly well done. But then the film is nothing close to that. Like, you still get the same lot of songs with little bits of stuff in between, but it just doesn't come across as something as, like, their big sequence of Prince Ali and all the dancers feels small.
Yeah.
It feels like...
But it just feels fake.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing with musical theatre, which admittedly I haven't been to many shows, but I've been to a few. Heck, I've been in a few. But, like, because it's right there in front of you, it isn't fake, it's real.
Yeah.
You know, it's right there. And I think when you've got that divide with the screen, that you're watching it on. And of course, especially after the cinema release, it's on a smaller screen. Like we've got a good sized TV, but it's nothing close to cinema, obviously. And I think you've got to work really hard to make the world feel real, feel grounded, and a little bit of dust on people's clothes goes a long way. And this film has none of that. And because of that, it feels like they have built a city in a warehouse, torn it down after the fact, dressed everyone up from clothes that they bought brand new from designers. You know, it's not even like period clothing. It's just literally like they've gone into TK Maxx or whatever your local store is, Target, and gone, yeah, I'll have this, 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 and this. These are what's the brightest colors you can get. You get the saturation on the camera and just whap it up to 1,000,000.
I think that's such a shame, because obviously that sounds like we're not giving anyone slack for what they've done. Like, I think the costumes look amazing and they're crafted amazingly, but the decision to make them what they are is wrong. I think the sets look amazing and they're done really, really well, but the decision to make them what they are is wrong. And it's the same with the singing. Like, the singing is done really well. Like, the performers are amazing. And, well, I don't know about Will Smith. I'm not a huge fan of his singing in this piece. But, like, you can tell that everything is auto-tuned. Like, it goes from speaking into auto-tuned vocals, and you're like, what is this? You know, it immediately doesn't feel real anymore. And that's also,
as soon as you do that every 10 minutes, you've got a problem.
Yeah, I was like, just go Sweeney Todd, have it slight imperfections in there, or just don't have that electronic robot voice over thing. Like, just if it wasn't perfect and you would need to auto-tune it, just do another take. Just do another take.
Because you're in a studio anyway.
Yeah.
They're not singing this on set.
Yeah, or they're singing it in a studio where you can easily do another take.
Yeah, just sing it again.
Yeah. No, and all of this just contributes to
I think there's some very important high-up decisions, and many of them that were made really early, that completely derailed this film. And it was probably made quite cheap. I wouldn't be surprised if most of this film's budget went into marketing. Because that
Will Smith.
attention, and Smith, but that attention to detail that takes a good set to realistic brilliance just isn't there. But he did get nominated for a Saturn Award for Best Director, it says. Don't know why. He didn't win, so that's fine. If he did get that, if that was his award that he got, I would have been very, very disappointed. But moving on. Luckily, in the same year, he pulls out The Gentleman.
Yes.
Which
you can tell where his
time was there.
He probably just like stepped on set and Aladdin said action just because they needed someone to be the
second unit. You got this.
No, but Gentleman is definitely a whole nother ball game. Oh my god.
I love this movie.
Yes.
This is one of my favorite films of the decade.
Yeah.
And it came out literally like the day before New Year. And I was blown away. We saw it in cinema. I was blown away. It's the only one that wasn't available on streaming services. This is too new. I was more than happy to buy it on Amazon. I was like, I'm not renting it, I'm buying it. I love it.
Yes.
I
think the return.
Just go for it, or you can.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
no,
it's perfect.
Yeah.
Everything about this film is brilliant.
It's kind of like you can really tell that if we forget Aladdin and.
Just Aladdin.
Yeah, no, just Aladdin. You can really tell that all the other films really build up to this. Like, you have elements from every single film. Like, all the good parts in terms of plot and characters that intertwine and come together, in terms of dialogue, how it's written, how fast it is, how natural. It's incredible how natural all his dialogue is. Like, people are actually speaking, and they are speaking the way people actually speak. And you have what else? You have obviously visual cues and visual storytelling, like his just the way his camera moves and stuff.
I mean, I think
the same.
Like, to literally go for every single film, you've got so I would say Snatch and Rock and Roll are very, very similar films, and you've got the complexity of both. It's kind of more towards the high end cry, but that doesn't mean the low end is left out. So it's like you take both of them and combine them into one. You've got solving the mystery of Sherlock Holmes, because you're unwrapping this huge puzzle that Fletcher has made, and it's solved as you're there,
It's
you're
so
solving it with it. So the audience isn't ahead, so you don't know what's coming, but you're also not so far behind, like the second Sherlock Holmes film, where you're just out in the blue until they tell you. You're there to solve that puzzle as it goes, and there are clues that are shown, and you kind of go, okay, so we know that someone's dead in the freezer.
Yeah.
Who?
Yeah.
You know, and you're finding that out. You've got the slower pace from Man from U.n.c.l.E.
Yeah.
So it's, I mean, this film more than anything, it just takes its time. You know, the jokes are there. It knows they're coming. The action's coming, but it's happy to just, you know, like the characters are sitting with a glass of whiskey and just telling the story.
Well, the thing is, like, it's not that it's slow because nothing is happening, because you have action from the beginning on, but it's not like boom, 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 and then everything blows up and stuff. But like, it's just tastefully placed, and
No,
that's
I think
like
if you it's like Snatch and Rock Roller, it's like do 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 do, and then the film's over. Hour and a half, you're done.
Yeah.
Whereas this is like a cool 2 hours, and it's just happy to sit and go, the good stuff's coming.
Yeah.
Let's just enjoy it. Let's make some references. Let's make some jokes.
Just like sprinkled in,
you know,
here and there.
we know you've got you. They've got you.
Yeah.
I think you got King Arthur's that storytelling style, that perfect sequence in King Arthur is there. You know, the whole film is that, and it's all told in that way. I think that is brilliant.
Yeah.
And it perfects that storytelling.
Well, yeah, I think just in terms of storytelling, the whole film is basically a story, and I love how it is presented as Fletcher, like, presenting this script. You know, it's a movie script that he's presenting, and obviously that's very ironic, but like, he then tells the story, which is like his research work and stuff. And so we kind of always have these flashbacks, but not really, that are, yeah. So I think that's also what's so cool, is like, is this a flashback, or is it him telling a story? But then also to double back and say, like, he's not an omniscient.
Yeah. And there are some brilliant funny stuff that, so this is one that I don't want to spoil too much. People probably haven't got this yet. But there are moments that non-omniscience allows for brilliant comedy.
Yeah.
I mean, I was laughing out loud the whole way through.
Yeah.
I think the action that is there is quick and done well. None of the stuff takes long. It even does take elements from Aladdin. So there is a song sequence in it that's done as well as like, if it was a rap video, I wouldn't blink twice. Like, it's done well for that. Again, if you're like, cool, this is funky and new, I'm down for it. If you're not, I know in the cinema I was a little bit like, it's gone in a minute.
Yeah.
You know, like, it doesn't overstay its welcome at all. I think that's true of almost everything in this film. Nothing lasts that long. Like, if you don't like something, then it's moved on and you're gone. But there, I mean, obviously, if you like the Guy Ritchie style, this is it in spades. It's incredible.
Yeah.
The acting, I think Hugh Grant.
Yes.
Wow.
Honestly, I don't know why there isn't like big awards flying his way for this, because it is just so on the money.
It's perfect.
It's like, hilarious.
And it's nothing like Hugh Grant. I actually had to check halfway through the film because I was like, I know this is Hugh Grant, but I'm just gonna check IMDb because I'm like, is it though? Like, it feels nothing like him. I think Charlie Hunnam does a really, really good job. He's kind of the anchor of the film. And like,
but the two of them play off of each other so beautifully.
Perfectly. Matthew McConaughey, brilliant. And the rest of the cast as well. Like, I think no one does a bad job. And it, what a film! Like, he's definitely the one that stuck with me. And
who's Matthew McConaughey's wife?
Don't
know her name. Because I also really like her character, because it's not like the wife of the boss, you know. She
Michelle Docker.
Yeah.
She's in Downton Abbey.
Oh, I see.
That's Jeremy Strong plays Matthew.
No, but she also, like, she's also her own crime boss, you know, which is so cool.
No, there's definitely, so this is a film that, I mean, so I love it. Through and through. I would happily rewatch it tonight. It's incredible. And it's, I mean, looking at even their budget, 22 million, which is far lower than the rest of his films, and the box office 115. So good for him, and he was the producer on that. So Garrett got himself a nice return. How he got those actors so cheap, I don't know.
That's incredible.
And actually, someone that we didn't talk about, Colin Farrell. This is one of his best performances. Jonas is still confused about the budget.
That's incredible. No, because I'm thinking, like, that's not a whole lot more than you could get in Germany. Like, for, like, the biggest film you could make in Germany, that's getting pretty close to it. And, like, I'm thinking, like, shit, why aren't we making those kinds of films?
I don't know. Colin Farrell, I mean, I love him as an actor. I think he's great.
Yeah.
And
it feels like a little bit of a less spoofy reprise of Brad Pitt's character.
Yes, yeah, from Snatch. Yeah. But I think second to In Bruges, this is Colin Farrell's best performance. I'd say I'd put it up there with Seven Psychopaths. He's just funny. He's on the money, and he's there to kind of represent the lower class of crime.
Yeah.
And I think they've still got the verbal insults. And I think he kind of encapsulates Henry Cavill and Armie Hammer from Kingsman. He's there to kind of take that style of humor. If you want it, that's where it is. I think that's also probably where the film drew criticism.
Yes, okay, now we're getting into
that. No, so a lot of his films have been criticized for being...
I think before we get into that, I just want to, like, add to that. It's, again, every single character is different, has different motivations, comes from a different place, but it's so well-rounded and cohesive that you do get those different styles, and they make sense. It just, everything makes sense because the characters make sense and they're thought through, like, completely, through and through. Yes.
In fact, before we get to there, we did say, actually... No, I was just thinking, because I was thinking Ocean's 11 has that moment where there's kind of nothing goes wrong. Now, this is one film where there is something that you go, ah. Now, full spoilers.
If you don't want them, just
skip
pause right
20 seconds. So when they're recording the football game, and they have to fill in the dialogue, which is one of the funniest moments of the film, for sure. But when Matthew McConaughey shows the dialogue to Matthew, the dialogue's there.
Yes.
Now, I think this can be fixed by knowing that Charlie Hunnam was doing the same job as Fletcher.
Yes.
And we'll just presume that he bugged it and got that bug. Or maybe Fletcher had a bug that he didn't want to give away the true dialogue or something. But it is one moment that plays and you see the dialogue with them and you go, I think it would have been really funny to have the mouth over it. There's one bit that is like...
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Now, welcome back to the non-spoiler people. Yes. But that is definitely one moment I think is a little... But it's nowhere near bad enough to impact the film in any way. But in terms of the criticism the film took, it took quite a lot of criticism for being anti-Semitic and racist. And I think Colin Farrell's character, probably where that came from.
Anti-Semitic?
Yeah, there's lots of jokes about just throwaway lines.
Okay.
Attacking everyone. I think it's the media being the media, honestly.
Well, I mean, I think there's one specific part where a character is called a black... I'm just gonna say it because it's quoting the film.
You're quoting the film.
He's being called a black cunt, and then he's like, that character's like, I don't think that's whatever, fair or something like. Did he just call me? And then Colin Farrell's like, yeah, it's because you are black, a fact, and you are a cunt, which in his eyes is also a fact. And
he said, you even clarify that you'd be coming from a place of affection. At least he's not calling you a pikey.
Yeah. Or like, it's not you're a cunt because you are black. You know, that's kind of like separate. And I think that is important as like a reasoning, which is in the film. You know, that's why like.
However, though, there are sections they make fun of an Asian character's name for being Fahak.
Fahak.
But it's spelled with a PH. And like there's a good few jokes talked out about that, and I think people obviously just took it the wrong way. I think this film is very British. There's a lot of British actors. Guy Ritchie is very, very British. All his good films are London crime films. I think there's, maybe you could argue, a slight inert racism that comes in with that, and not racism, but a joke style that very much pokes fun at people's weaknesses. Like all of his films, he's making fun of Pikeys, the Irish, the Scots, the British,
Mm-hmm.
the Americans, you know, through and through. And I think
Yeah.
that when large cultures like, or peoples, like you're making fun of all
Yeah.
Asians, people take issue with that. And also, this film obviously did do really well and was released across the globe. I think people that hadn't heard from Guy Ritchie in a while, or had maybe seen Aladdin and that's it,
Mm-hmm.
because his other films are low key. You know, they're British films for British people and
Mm-hmm.
did all right in American market for all intents and purposes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think once you get a film on this scale, that highly sarcastic British humor that is explained sometimes, like when he calls him a black cunt, isn't always needed to be explained. And I think that's where the film drawing criticism from American publications that
No,
don't
absolutely.
understand humor.
Well, not understand humors. I think no, but like I think what
No, different humors.
Yeah, I think what people maybe in America won't understand is how it is making fun of so much more, and like people like Colin Farrell are being made fun of just by him being who he is.
Yeah.
And
I mean, the
so
matching jumpsuits.
yeah, and so you do get into the whole situation of like, okay, if you only poke fun at the Asian characters or the black characters, then yes, you are definitely being racist, even if you don't mean that.
Yeah.
Even if you don't mean to be, but because you also make fun of everyone else for them being who they are, you do have the whole thing of like, we are ridiculing everyone because everyone is flawed in their own way. Not saying that race is a flaw, like definitely not.
Of course, yeah, of course.
No, but like I think it's quite interesting that the white characters are actually being ridiculed because they are flawed, whereas like the Asian characters are not. Like they don't actually are portrayed as flawed in the same sense that they are ridiculed for just who they are. And I assume that maybe American viewers won't realize that. They don't see that because the characters are just being funny to them, but they don't understand like the whole like, oh, what is a pikey in that sense, or like what is a Londoner.
Yeah,
you know, why are they funny the way they are?
Yeah, I mean, if it doesn't take very long to realize, like if you look at The Office,
Mm-hmm.
the American and the British Office,
Mm-hmm.
or In-Betweeners, or any show that's got both versions, America went and stole because British Office came first, but the humor styles of the two countries is so different.
Yeah.
And I think as soon as a British film is on that kind of scale, it maybe isn't received so well. And I think that's also, I mean, obviously I'm biased. But I prefer the American Office. I think it's far more lighthearted. Because a TV show that's full of nihilistic humor constantly and people ripping into each other constantly is tiring. But in a 2-hour film set right, with funny characters that are likable and that to get on, I think it's done really well.
Yeah.
And in terms of the humor that I enjoy, and I think if you've enjoyed any of Guy Ritchie's films, The Gentleman, I would say, is his best piece.
Yeah. And also, I definitely think in terms of race and racism, to go back to what I didn't say about an hour ago, is that you definitely have very, very good representation throughout all his films.
Yeah.
And good representation, not just in terms of quantity, but also in terms of quality. Say, King Arthur, you have Black Knights, which is historically quite, I assume, very inaccurate. But no one cares because we are in a very...
There's giant elephants.
You know, we are in a fantasy situation, and so it's a thing. And like, also it's, no one cares in the cinematic universe that is playing, and I, as a viewer, therefore don't care. Like, and that's perfect, you know? It's just...
Yeah.
It's not a thing.
Another thing that The Gentleman got criticized for was being all men. And the film's called The Gentleman. And it's misogynistic. And I think, Guy Ritchie knows his viewership very well.
Yes.
And B, it doesn't matter.
And it's not all men.
Well, this is the thing. All the main characters are. So you've got Michelle Dockery.
Yes.
The wife.
Yeah.
Who has her own bitty side type business. The rest of it is dudes.
Yeah, but Okay, maybe she doesn't, maybe she isn't one of the most
No, but I think we live in a world now where people expect
yes
50-50 split.
no, I mean, I understand that people expect that, but I think people don't realize what big of a role she plays without having screen time.
Yeah, it's the same as Once
Like
Upon a
you
Time in
have
Hollywood's Sharon Tate.
yeah.
You know, you can be very impactful to the plot without dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the
Like
same.
I mean the whole thing, like the movie starts with a quote from um Matthew McConaughey, well, but he is quoting his wife. You know, so all his motivation, this character is completely driven.
Yeah, to retire away with his wife.
His wife.
That's it. But no, I think it's interesting that there is such
She's an incredibly powerful character.
You're all right today.
Yeah. I've run out of water. So.
Yeah, okay. No, I think it's a shame that the film got flack for that. I also think Guy Ritchie knows that most of the people watching his films are probably dudes, and crime films are, you know, the crime world as it actually is still run by men in Britain for the most part. So
yeah,
you know, there's an element of, do you want to represent things as they are or represent equally?
yeah.
And I think Guy Ritchie does a really good job of making sure that everyone is represented, but as realistically as possible.
I mean that's definitely one of his strengths, is that it all feels real. Like everything feels so real because the characters are completely thought out, thought through. So their motivations seem real. It's grounded in reality, and all that. So
I think
I
when
don't
you
know.
start playing with representation past
For the
that
sake
point,
of it,
for the sake of it, you end up running into issues like in Disney's Avengers, where they have that shot where all the girls are on screen and they all just kind of stop mid battle to show that they have lots of women.
Yeah.
And you're like,
no, that's why I like, say, the Black Knights and King Arthur, because it's not for the sake of representation. It's because he just wanted those actors to be there.
Yeah. No, so I think that this film, I personally am not offended by that. If you've got any reasons that you were, let us know down below.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Because I'm yet to see a convincing argument, but I do know that there are many. There's a loud voice. I do wonder if it is all America being America. But especially now with what's going on in the world, that'd be interesting if there's actually any arguments that we
honestly missed. One of my favorite moments in The Gentleman is literally the very last moment where he's sitting, where Matthew McConaughey is sitting on the couch and she just like comes into the room or like stands in the doorway and he says, "Any chance?" And she closes the door. No, but it's like she is in complete power, you know, even though he is by far the most powerful man.
They just made hundreds of millions.
Yeah. He's by far the most powerful man in this movie, but he's only second to her. So I think that definitely speaks for itself. It's not in your face, but I think that's what makes it so much better, because it isn't pushing an agenda. It is just there.
Yeah, I think that does go for all his films. He never seems like, it feels like Guy Ritchie makes the films that he wants to make. With the exception of Aladdin. But it feels like all of his films are a passion project, and they have all been working up to this. And I think that's why The Gentleman is perfect. I love it.
Shall we round it off at this point? Because that is the perfect place to end.
It's the perfect place to end. But no, yeah. You recently said though that Guy Ritchie is one of your favorite directors.
Yes.
If not your favorite.
Yes.
That's a high bar.
Yeah. No, I think he definitely is at least on par with Tarantino's dialogue writing, script writing. And I think I enjoy his way of making complex plots more than Tarantino's.
Yeah.
And maybe also just the more naturalistic realism, like grounded in, you don't get flashy blood squirting action sequences. Everywhere. It's just yeah.
Do you have a favorite Guy Ritchie film?
It's a bit more The Gentleman. But
you said that's so obvious.
No, but it's just a bit more tasteful rather than
no, I'd agree.
I can't think of the word.
Bombastic.
Maybe.
Show me.
Or like it's trying to get a reaction from you.
Yeah. No, I'd agree. I think we'll leave it off there. But if you haven't seen it, please go away and watch The Gentleman. It's fabulous. We did want to address its flaws because, frankly, we couldn't find any. That's why I wanted to bring them to light.
You did say one thing.
We did?
The recording the video.
Nah. I don't care. Nope. Honestly, the rest of the film... That's also the thing for filmmakers, though. Because that is a lot of people that watch our channel are budding film people. You can get away with issues. You can get away with continuity if your film is tight. Like, if so much of the film is brilliant...
Honestly, if that is
doesn't matter.
If that is the only issue, like, if I was Guy Ritchie and people are like, yeah, but this thing, and you're like, seriously? I don't care, because that is...
Yeah. Because that is literally, you can't criticize the acting, the soundtracks. We didn't even talk about any of them, actually, but the music is always brilliant. Like the sets, the costuming, the pacing, the dialogue,
costumes.
But if you can't criticize anything except one tiny detail in a film, you're getting away with that.
Yeah.
But no, we will leave it off there. If you've got any recommendations of what our next retrospective should be, let us know.
What is your favorite director?
If you also like Tarantino, you can check out our retrospective on him. This one is significantly longer because Guy Ritchie deserves all the minutes he gets.
All the minutes.
But yeah, thanks for tuning in.
And it has been building up for the past 2 weeks that we've
Guy Ritchie
not been doing it.
Yes, but no, luckily we're back on track now.
Exactly.
And
see you
in the next one.
Damn.